Welcome to today's reading. Today we are going to be doing a collective reading. So I'm just starting off with some Palo Santo to just ground the space and make sure we're clear of anything else around. I don't have any specific topic here other than it's just whatever this collective needs to hear right now. I do want to take a second to actually point out this beautiful candle that I'm burning is actually made from a lovely friend of mine, and she makes really high quality beautiful products here in the Redlands area in Brisbane, where the candles that she makes actually are like really long burning, really good quality candles. She does lots of lovely stuff. Everything she does is like actually quite high vibrational. She makes some tinctures and does like Apothecary and whatnot as well. So I might leave her Instagram in the description box. She's only just starting out, so she doesn't have a heap of stuff listed yet, but if you're in the area, she would definitely happily work in with you to do different things, I think, if it's something that she's able to. The name is Beloved Botanicals, and it's Amy. One more. There we go. Hoping everybody's doing well today, or as well as we all can be anyway. Okay. We'll just start off, we've got the Devil card in reverse here, and this to me is signifying some sort of recent freedom or breaking away. There's a feeling of coming unstuck. Like whatever was holding you down is gone, or whatever was holding you down no longer has power over you. And now that you're free from whatever it was, you'll have a much better chance at actually building an empire of some kind. So that's going to look different for everyone, whether that empire is just a beautiful home, a legacy, skill building, financial, wealth. Yeah. For some of you, even like a social following or a community. And at this point, it's kind of taking a very relaxed energy of just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks and just trying different things. But, I don't get any elements here of worrying about like perfectionism or anything like holding us back in any state of analysis paralysis. This gives me the energy of like, you're just really happy to give things a go and see what works and then go from there. And for this, like what's happening here at the moment, this is perfect. That's all we need to do and all we can do sometimes, hey. And if we give ourselves that, I don't know what it is, it's like a little bit of self-compassion and also a little bit of not taking ourselves or life too seriously can actually be really helpful. So I am getting the red highlighted in these cards as well, which is the root chakra. And I feel like this is something that maybe, I don't know if you've been doing some work around your root chakra or safety or freedom of expression or anything like that, or maybe whatever had a hold of you previously affected your root chakra in ways that you didn't realize. But I basically feel like coming unstuck or getting out of this energy or being able to move away from it somehow is actually, maybe it was just a case of being stuck in fear. Sometimes we don't realize, like, even though life seems perfectly normal, that we're still living or coming from a place of fear, whether it's like fear of judgment from others or I don't know, fear can show up in so many different ways, but I mean that's such a simple way I feel like it shows up for a lot of people. There's also that whole thing of the fear of the unknown or the fear of the future or the fear of the past, happening again. Maybe for this group, for the people in this collective, it's like the fear of the same old things happening again. But with what I feel and understand from this reading, this isn't going to be something that would happen again. It's like, I want to say like your time is done, or you've paid your dues in some way. Okay, what else have we got? There's something else here. They're just highlighting that, like, when this card goes into reverse, the little bird that's on the chain basically is free and flies away. And they're like reiterating, like, you're free, like, they're, I guess, like excited, like sort of celebrating the fact that don't let my flat tone fill you with the level of excitement here, okay? Yeah, just that, you're free. Okay, cool. I do sort of wonder if it's kind of an emotional thing for you because of the lack of my excitement. So, because it's such a good thing and it's something totally worthwhile being excited over, to be free from whatever this is. I do wonder for some of you, if you're like still on the precipice of, you know, breaking free of whatever this is, but for a lot of you, you're already, like, this has just happened, like very recently just happened. Okay, so leaving that because it's already like happened or happening, and where, you know, we just have to move on from it, really. There's something. No, we're getting more. They're saying that this thing, whatever it was that was keeping you stuck, might try to come back, but it's never going to be able to get the same hold over you that it ever, like, that it has in the past. For some of you where this is a person and they try to come back, it's like, you know now, like, you've got boundaries in place, and it's not even about boundaries. I think this is about, you know what they're like, and you know how they operate, and you're never ever gonna let that happen again. So boundaries or not, you're just, you've learnt your lesson here. I feel like whatever this situation is, you've definitely like grown wiser to whatever was happening or did happen, or that person's behavior. Okay, so yeah, going back to where you'll essentially end up is just being able to be a little bit kinder to yourself with the life experience that you have, realizing that we don't always have to take life so seriously, and that we can just try things, and they don't have to, we just try things and just see if they work out, and see if we like them, and see if they work for us, and if not, we just move on to the next thing. It's all just part of the journey, just trying another thing. So like, maybe it'll take you a few goes at different things to work out what it is that you want to do, or where you want to move in the future, and what you want your life to look like. But I think that you're actually going to do it, and you'll probably surprise yourself, and you'll do it much better than you thought. Yeah, okay. I'm not getting too much else from those cards at this point in time, so we'll move on. I'm going to use the Light Seers Tarot and see if we get another message of some kind coming out. So we have the Seven of Swords. This is like you getting out of the situation unscathed. I don't think it's necessarily about, maybe the person that you're actually like getting away from, or the situation, had some element of like dishonesty, deceit, or, you know, some sort of lying, stealing, cheating energy maybe. But I feel like for a lot of you, this is really about getting away unscathed, or getting out, escaping this situation rather than something else. Maybe it was both, right? Maybe it was a bad situation that you managed to escape from. Cool. And then it's kind of like, I don't want to say new beginnings, but it's like once we know like what life can bring our way, sometimes it can show us what we want. It can really highlight maybe before we didn't really know what we wanted, and that's how we sort of wound up in that place originally. But it's shown us what we want, and now it's like we can slowly start to nurture that little bit by bit. Yeah, I feel like when you work out what it is that you want to do, you'll slowly be building something. And do you know, sometimes when we like go through these phases of not really knowing what we want or what we want to do or what we want our life to look like, or even skill building, like maybe we're trying out like one industry or a career or one type of skill, and we decide maybe that's not for us, or we get bored of it and we try something else. Sometimes we can end up sort of building, how do I explain it? So maybe you have an interest in psychology, and then maybe you also end up being a bit of a spiritual person, and maybe you also have a bit of an interest in biology. And by the time maybe you spend like a few months or a year here and there sort of looking into these different subjects and topics within them and learning a little bit about them, and you might look at it like maybe it starts off like you're interested in psychology, maybe doing a degree, contemplating that, and you're not really sure if you should or not, and you want to make sure that you really, this is your thing, this is your calling, this is what captivates you and it's your interest. And you know, you think about how you could apply it in the real world after you've actually done the learning, because I feel like the learning part is like the easy or the fun part, and it's once you actually get into the real world and start having to apply your knowledge and working with people is where maybe the real challenges can arise, because we're not just reading or watching a video, we're actually having to deal with the challenges that come up. Anyway, maybe you work out at some point that maybe you get attached to things or people too easily, or situations, and maybe it wouldn't be the best fit for you, but you still have this sort of general basis understanding of like some of the subjects and topics that come up in psychology. Then maybe you move on and you have a spiritual awakening, or you all of a sudden are captivated by spirituality and the fact that, you know, no matter like before technology and before aeroplanes and the internet and everything like that, people all over the world had different forms of like spiritual beliefs and conscious awakenings popping up in different countries, in different cultures where there was no real crossover, okay? So maybe like that captivates you, but then maybe you realize that as much as you love your spirituality and you lean into it, it's still not quite real world advantageous to you in forms of, you know, secure financial income and that sort of thing. But like what I'm trying to highlight here is that you go through one and learn about it, you move on to the next one and learn about it, and you still decide that both of those things that you've learned about aren't actually what you want to do, but you encompass them into what you end up doing. Like, I don't know, maybe you actually like plants, and maybe the way that you end up bringing all three of these things together, like with a horticulture, with your psychology and spirituality, is looking at something like horticultural therapy as a diversional therapeutic tool used for people, you know, things like that. So it's not a waste. Like, I feel like I need to just reiterate that it's not a waste for you to take the time to get to know yourself better and learn all these things about yourself and learn what you enjoy, because you're fundamentally like, you're building the fundamental blocks to you as a person, like what you like, what you're interested in, what you value as a person, you know, what your morals are, and how you perceive the world and how you put it together and how it all works for you, okay? So yeah, so they're acknowledging that, you know, the mention of getting away from the situation unscathed, maybe it's not totally unscathed, like maybe you got a scratch or something, maybe you lost a feather, right? But ultimately it was like the least possible damage outcome for what it could have been for the situation. And so it's almost like a sense of congratulations, and it was just that excitement again of like just being like, you're free. But then I just feel like I sort of was thinking or getting the energy of like Four of Swords after this. So maybe you're feeling, I don't know, for some of you, it's like a small group of you maybe feeling a little bit like burnt out, and some of you may be feeling a little bit defeated. I feel like for most of you, just the fact that you can get out of whatever that was going on is actually almost going to give you a new lease on life itself, because nothing can hold you back. So even if you don't really feel up to the task, you'll kind of be full on life in a way that you're not stuck anymore, which is fantastic. So I mean, we can't ask for a lot more than that when we're coming out of situations like this. So it's like a kudos, like you've done really well, okay? And then it's just that energy of like continually showing up and nurturing the things that we love and our interest and what we're trying to build. And yeah, but it's also a sense here of like a keen level of discernment that you've gained awareness of, like what am I trying to say? Yeah, it's like you have gained a really good level of awareness where you can exercise keen discernment. No one's going to mess with you again, kind of thing. Like, and if this wasn't a person, if this was something else, it's like your boundaries are firm in place. You've got strong willpower. You know where you're at. No one, nothing can stop you, kind of thing, is the feeling I get. I do feel like at times when you're in that energy, though, it can feel a little bit cold. For you, maybe you haven't quite gotten to a place where you've like necessarily found your people just yet, but it's that message of just persisting and upholding it, because if we let it go, if we let things slide, that's how we wind up back in this place of being stuck in the first place, right? So you need to, they're wanting me to tell you that you need to just keep doing what you're doing and keep working at it, and keep being yourself and keep upholding your standards, so that you attract like-minded people, okay? And then once you're there, it'll be so much easier. But it's really that message of like having the strength to persist through these times, because it will be lonely at times. Like she's on her own. There is a sense of isolation, but it's not like that forever, okay? It's just for a time. It's just for a time. And do you know, I also sort of get the hermit energy with this a little bit as well for this particular reading, that, you know, when sometimes the hardest times of our lives where we are really isolated or lonely turn out to actually be some of the, like, most, I don't even know how to say it, like, times of, like, the richest growth possible in our inner worlds, where we transform or transcend as a person. Yeah. It might not feel nice at the time, but maybe when you look back, you'll actually end up kind of valuing or missing that period of time when you reminisce later in life, because it was such a time for like exponential growth and development in you as a person, but just getting to know yourself so well. And I feel like there's, you know, some people do it well, where they're like so content in being on their own, and they really have that high esteem, or they're happy to, they enjoy their own company. And for others of us, it's not the case. But when we do get given that time, whether we choose to take it or it's forced upon us, we can learn to appreciate that, and we can find that happiness in our own company as well. It's less about other people and more about ourselves. But I think it's it's kind of a magical time, but a critical time, where it's like you really you need to take the time for yourself, because if you don't, it's just, we're never going to change. Like, our life will never change, our situations will never change, we'll never grow. We'll just keep doing the same thing time after time. And I feel like for some of you, maybe you have done this a few times already, but this level of strength here that you have within, and this message to just continue to embody it, that's all you need. Like, you know, the lion doesn't give up ever. The day that the lion gives up is the day that the lion is gone. And I don't mean any sort of references there to anything else. There's no connotation. It's literally just that, like, lions continue to hunt, they continue to fight, and they continue to look after themselves as best they can. That's all it is. I am getting highlighted for any of you that may get a little bit triggered by this, that you know, we all have that responsibility for our own well-being to, I guess, you know, if you know that you need any sort of medical help, to search to find somebody in the appropriate medical profession that can help you when needed. That's not for everybody, right? Like, I mean, obviously that applies to everyone, but I don't think that message is directed at everyone in the sense that everyone is at that point where they need to do that. But take it as it applies. Don't try to make anything fit. And I think sometimes a lot of our beauty that we don't realize about ourselves comes from these great periods of introspection and time where we really learn about ourselves and we develop these new boundaries and we change and grow as a person. We become wiser, and it's just that, like, that substance and that deep character development and building that we just don't realize it really transforms and transcends us as a person. I feel like, you know, it kind of gives me the vibes of if maybe we previously didn't have great relationships, and this can be anything, platonic and romantic, family relationships, that sometimes we don't, when we're younger, we don't always have the life experience that grants us the appreciation of things. And then after we maybe go through a time of some sort of hardship or just life experience in general, it can end up, I guess, giving us a different perspective or view on things. And then we can sort of come back and have this newfound appreciation for people we always had around us, and we just didn't have that level of understanding for them before. But it's really that energy of, I'm getting a feeling here to, like, try new things, really try new things. Don't let the past, like, what's the word, like, taint the possible outcomes of trying things, because when we try something new, like, there's so many possibilities of what it can do to our lives. I feel like this group, this collective today, is on the precipice of some sort of great change, as long as you can just embody giving things a new go and not taking things too seriously. Make sure you maintain your strength, be appreciative for what you have. You're free. Like, whatever this is, you're free. There's 100% freedom here. When I say there too, I realize that, like, people have kids and extenuating circumstances, right? So it's not like you're in this, your whole life all of a sudden has this new lease of freedom, although for a lot of you I think it does. But for some of us, we still have, like, you know, responsibilities in the day-to-day and whatnot, but there's just some level of new freedom here. There's some sort of breaking away from something that didn't serve us, and it's going to be really good for you. It's going to be really good for you. It might not feel like it initially, but it's 100% going to be good for you to get away from whatever that was. So I'm really stoked for you. And I feel like, you know, you might get the odd person that, like, wants you to come back or didn't want you to change, or maybe they liked keeping you where you were, keeping you stuck because it served them in some way, or, you know, but ultimately, like, that's, I don't know, that's them, that's not you. And if it only serves them and it's not a real genuine connection, then it's probably best that you left them behind anyway. And it, you know, for those of us where this situation's not necessarily involving people, whatever it was is probably always going to call you back. But it's time to let it go, and it's okay to let it go, and it's okay to know that it's there and that it would have you back any minute, but it's not worth it. It really isn't. I feel like you did well to get out of the situation with the least amount of damage possible that you have. If you went back to it again, I don't think it would be so easy to get away from next time. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to use the Palo Santo to quickly clear these cards before I keep reading. Just getting a little bit of funny energy, and I don't know if it's just because we're sort of talking through things and there's, like, a little bit of release or something through the energy as we go. Okay, that should be enough, I think. Alright, what else? I got something else here, the moon. Okay, so the message that I'm getting as well from the Seven of Swords card here is that the moon can be deceptive. Try not to pay too much attention to it. And they're telling me that the moon is just symbolic here. It's not actually about the moon, or yeah, it's actually, the moon is representing whatever this like situation or person is. Okay, so yeah, that's a bit of a funny one. Anyway. Okay, so moving on, we're going to take an archetype card. Overall, I feel really positive about this message here. Even if you know that there's still like a little bit of like work ahead and everything, it actually feels like really good energy. I feel quite calm, quite grounded, like quite optimistic, like knowing that there's the possibility and the hope of good things coming in, and just not taking things too seriously. I feel quite like secure within myself, I think, is probably one of the main things to point out. Knowing and trusting that you have the strength and wisdom to pull off whatever this is, or to continue on your journey, is perfect. Alrighty, so we had a couple put out. Let's see what we got. So we've got Vampire, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, or codependency. I don't know if you've been depleting others, but there's a great possibility that this, whatever the situation was actually codependency. But it does really give me the feeling, whether it's codependency or not, that there was someone or something that was 100% draining your life force, and that's whatever you're breaking free from here. So that actually is great confirmation and matches up perfectly. With this trickster card here, we have transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior, and manipulating others through duplicity. I feel like that personal situation was quite manipulative, but also I do get the light attribute playing out for you, where it is you actually transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. I feel like you've done something different here to change the game, or that's, you know, maybe one of those things coming up in your future where maybe you haven't really taken things, I don't know, whether it's a case of, I don't know, maybe you did used to take life quite seriously, but anyway, it's less about that, and it's more about just breaking away from this person that drains you, and is maybe, or person or situation, like, you know, if they're not manipulative, they're at least draining, at least very draining, whatever that situation is. So I'm glad you're getting away from it. Okay, there's something else here. I do also get, for some of you, there's an element here of you trying to hide away from the world, and that in itself could actually be really draining. And I did sort of get that message earlier about, like, if you can just be yourself and be who you are exactly as you are, then you'll attract those, you know, the people for you, the like-minded people. So yeah, that could be a different little situation playing out here. Maybe, yeah, if that's the case, I feel like you've sort of it caused you some great anxiety there. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're going to take a Zodiac card out of Barbieri Oracle. Okay, I've been getting the Jupiter and Pluto cards coming out together. Oh, like I've had it happen a couple of times. And so the way that I understand it is that Jupiter, I'm hearing duplicit nature. Okay, cool. So Jupiter is like that expansiveness and the creativeness, and maybe being in touch with like all the, I wanted to say spiritual realms, but I was getting earthly realms. So maybe, you know, a bit of both there, right? Like earth and spirituality. But yeah, it can be art as well. There's like a little bit of a fiery passion there, but it's mostly, expansiveness. So that's that like deep depth and growth. Whereas the Pluto here is the other side of the coin, and maybe we feel quite guarded and we do come across quite cold, or we're quite I don't want to say black and white, but it's like it's just that feeling of like cold where there's not as much emotion. Maybe it's more objective than subjective. And being the master in something, yeah. I'm hearing with the Pluto card that there is like some great connection to the crown chakra, but it's essentially inactive at this time. Okay. So that's kind of wild. Alright, I'm going to have a quick look and read from the book on these two cards, just to elaborate a little bit. Okay, for Jupiter, we have Jupiter is associated with the Roman god Jupiter, ruler of heaven and earth, thought of as a fair and just protector. Jupiter is often thought of as the planet of luck and expansion. The desire to understand the bigger picture, to prosper, and to experience joy are a big part of Jupiter's influence. Optimism, faith, and spirituality play roles in these issues. Well, that's awesome, because we were sort of talking about like optimism and everything as well, so that's lovely. Now for Pluto, let's see. Pluto is associated with the Roman god Pluto, who ruled the underworld. Small Pluto carries a lot of important human experiences, nothing less than life, death, and rebirth, and sex. Tied in with these ideas are issues of power and control, as well as finding personal freedom and confining mindsets. With this Pluto card, I was getting that someone has been like domineering, or there's like a sense of being dominated somehow. So for those of you that applies, take it. If not, just leave it. But it's like, yeah, two very opposing energies there from the way that I feel it. Okay. Any other cards? Okay. So I've taken a bunch of cards today. So this is from the Goddesses and Sirens deck. Oh, there we go. We have plenty and release. So it's really like that sense of letting go and the abundance coming in with the freedom. Yeah. Okay, I'm being drawn to talk about the citrine. This is like one of my favorite crystals that I have. It's a beautiful citrine. I don't even know where. I feel like I just want to talk about how pretty it is, or how like aesthetically pleasing, or the cosmetics of it. But it's basically like, it's really clear. It does have I don't know, like a lot of facets and a lot inside, a lot of windows to look at. There are points of it where you can see like sometimes little rainbow flashes as well, which is lovely. Yeah, I don't know. When I'm looking at this right now, I'm sort of getting an energy of almost feeling like really drawn into it, and almost like a bit obsessive with it, which is kind of funny because that's not what I've picked up from citrine. Like, citrine is definitely about our abundance and our wealth, and that doesn't, just because it's like, when I say wealth, it doesn't have to be like financial, you know, like security and although citrine is really about prosperity, it's just that like, it might not be about money, okay? It might not be about assets or anything. It definitely can be, but it can just be like abundance in every way. So it's not specific to money, if that makes sense. What else is there? Oh, okay, so confidence and willpower as well. And I feel like through this process, you'll gain such better confidence or willpower. Like, you know, maybe you didn't have the best confidence before it, but you will now. And then maybe the situation, because of being stuck for so long, has really driven you with this great sense of willpower, and it'll serve you really well. because I feel like you're not the type of person to misuse it. And yeah, I think if you were before, you wouldn't be after, and most of you aren't anyway, okay? So, I'm also getting something for the citrine about alignment. So maybe there's something in your life that hasn't aligned with the energy of citrine where it would be good for you to work with it. You don't have to work with citrine itself. You don't have to go out and necessarily buy crystals, but there could be something if you can do some sort of like meditation around it, or some sort of shadow work around it where what are we trying to find out? We're trying to find out, like, if you've got a blockage, is the blockage in the solar plexus? And if it doesn't have to be in the solar plexus, but if it's not in the solar plexus, is it maybe in fear to do with the root chakra that we mentioned at the start? And maybe that fear is around some sort of abundance or prosperity or wealth or something like that. So it would be good to have a look into. You can simply meditate and ask the questions, or maybe you can find on YouTube. I'm sure some lovely soul out there has put up a meditation around, financial blocks or money blocks and things like that. We were talking about the labradorite crystal. This has come up as a sense of protection and a connection to the third eye with the clear knowing, but it's heartfelt, and I don't know if that makes sense for anyone. Take it or leave it. It's essentially about protection for everyone in this group. For some of you, I feel like the protection could be in the astral realm. Either way, if you have it, it would be a good time for you to work with this crystal in some way, whether you meditate with it or take it with you when you go somewhere, or just keep it on you if you can put it in a pocket or something like that. I am also hearing heart-anchored awareness with this crystal. So that's, it's not something I typically think of with labradorite, that it would be regarding the heart, but maybe it's something that would be helpful for you at this time. So yeah. Anyway, the next thing is that I have to mention is obsidian. So they also, again, about protection, wanted me to pass on that it would be a good crystal for you to work with if you don't have a piece. I mean, there's other ways that you can look at trying to protect yourself that don't involve just crystals. But for those of you that do have it already, or like, you're already into that, this would be something good for you to work with as well. So again, meditation or carrying it on you. You probably don't need both. If you had only a choice of one, I'd choose the obsidian. If you have both, that's fantastic. What else? Sorry, there's so many trucks out today. Okay. Okay, so they're also highlighting with the obsidian that it will help like shield your aura, or help, it's either help shielding or sealing. No, it's shielding. Okay, so it's basically protective in a shielding way, if that makes sense. Okay, I feel like that's enough about the crystals for the moment. You don't have to have crystals, you don't have to be into them, you don't have to go out and spend money. Maybe pray and ask for Archangel Michael to help keep your energy clear and protect you for this period of time. If you're going to go that far, I would probably do it once a day and just see how you go. There's also an abundance of energy protection information, whether it's on YouTube or the internet or different Facebook groups, that you can look into as well, because different things work for different people. I just think with the labradorite and the obsidian, particularly the obsidian, they're generally really good, really helpful with that protection for most people, as long as it's not too heavy for you. If anyone here has, sometimes energy can be really heavy, even if it is good. but it's just too heavy for us as an individual. If you find the obsidian's too heavy, go for the labradorite, and that should be helpful for you. Okay, so that's everything I have for the cards and the crystals. We're going to take one of these messages. So now let's just go at the bottom. I feel like I need a better container for it. Okay, it just says anything is better than nothing. So if that's not a healthy dose of humility, I don't know what is. Anything is better than nothing. I think it's not even about humility. It's just really like, it makes me think of that trying new things, and anything is better than nothing. Just the fact that you're giving it a go, okay? Yeah. I think you guys have, everyone in this group has done really well navigating their situation. You've come out in like the best possible case scenario for what it was, and I feel like you can only go up from here, so that's wonderful. I'm stoked for you guys. I've got to stop saying guys so much. Okay. We are also going to take a Chakra Love card. I think this should be, there might be one card after this that we'll try for as well. There we go. So we've got Destiny, follow your instincts, they lead to the truth. And it is the third eye chakra that I mentioned before. Yeah, follow your instincts, they lead to the truth. It's kind of a sense of like having that clarity, but I feel like this group is actually really clear. It's just like a clear knowing. Maybe it is, well, they're saying follow your instincts. So it's like trusting your intuition if that's something that you already know you need to do. Just wait for this truck to go past. Yeah, maybe you're just not trusting in your own intuition enough, really. And okay, we're gonna do one more card. So this is the Into the Lonely Woods. We're not taking that many. We want one card. One card, please. Still too many. God damn it. If they do it again and it's only like 3 cards, I'll take it. But if they're gonna keep throwing out like 5 or 6 cards, here we go. This is what we want. Okay, so we have to watch over you, drink from your own well, water your own garden, and hope is like a hummingbird. This is amazing. So I am getting to watch over you. It's like that sense of like protection and being looked after from the universe. And I do wonder if that was how you got out of the situation as best that you did. Not discounting your own skills and navigating it, because I feel like you know that was a strong, clear message to be, I guess, to know that you did as like really well there. I guess a sense of being proud, but maybe know that Spirit is with you, and you can call on Archangel Michael or Spirit to help you in these times. And drink from your own well, water your own garden. This is like, to me, it's coming back to that, like putting time into you. We spoke a lot in this reading about spending time with you, getting to know you, trying things for you, trying, you know, yeah, definitely. And then hope is like a hummingbird. And I think we sort of mentioned that already as well. Hope is powerful. It's crazy what hope can do, right? It shouldn't be underestimated. If you haven't had a lot of hope for a long time, which could very well be the case, don't underestimate it. Maybe give it a go just as an exercise out of curiosity to see what happens if nothing else. And I think you'll probably surprise yourself. But yeah. Okay, that's everything that I have for today's reading. Thanks for being here with me. I'm just happy for this group to be, you know, coming out of this period and moving on to much better things, just better times in general, overall, right? Yeah, I trust that this message has found who it is meant to in the time that it is meant to. And yeah, I don't know if I can say much else. Thank you for being here. I hope that this resonated for you and it was helpful for you in some way. Maybe at this point you could have even enjoyed it, who knows. And I'll see you all in another video. Thank you.